Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Sarita. So glad you're joining me. I have what I think should be a very short review today because it's only on one candle from Bath & Body Works, and it is this one, Sea Salt and Sails. Oh, look, we're focusing. The camera's focusing today. Oh, the camera gives, the camera takes away. You know what I mean? So I mistakenly always refer to this candle as Surf and Sails because that's what I thought it was. I can never remember that it's sea salt and sails. But I hope that you know what I mean whenever I refer to Surf and Sails from Bath and Body Works. I thought this was kind of a cute little package. Why not? It's a little bit on the textured side. I don't know if you can kind of tell that from the camera, but this was kind of in that Mediterranean line with the nice like white rattan lids on them. I thought these were really stunning in terms of summer candles, and unfortunately, a lot of the fragrances in this collection didn't quite live up to the aesthetic, in my opinion. A lot of them were super subpar. Didn't love most of them. I did burn there was a sea salt and lavender, I think. It was okay. It wasn't great. There was a Citrus Grove, which was a new one, but I did not even bother burning that. It just seemed so synthetic, and it was kind of that bright, sparkling, almost cleaner like citrus note. I just don't go in for it. To be honest, I don't love Bath & Body Works citrus note across the board, but especially when it gets effervescent or candied or, yeah. There's a lot of directions actually that citrus notes can go that are not good, and really only a couple that are good. So it is very easy to miss, I would say. And I'm not a candle developer, but I can imagine it's very easy to miss with a lemon scent or an orange scent or whatever else it is, especially lemon lime. So yeah, not great candles. I thought that there was like another collection that came out at the same time that was much more like juvenile packaging. It had the Surf Shop in it, Raspberry Rosé, Summer Boardwalk, and there was one other one, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, Under the Sun, I think. That like really aggressive and synthetic, I think banana suntan kind of fragrance. So anyway, this is Sea Salt and Sails, and it's been out for a while. It's not a new candle. It's not a new fragrance for Bath & Body Works, but I don't know that I've ever burned it. And it was my vibe, and I took it home. I think that Surf Shop is actually far more successful than this one was, or at least the iterations this year. I mean, who knows? There may have been an earlier iteration of Sea Salt and Sails that performed better than this one did. And I think there have been Surf Shops iterations that have not performed well either. This year's was, for whatever reason, unexpectedly and surprisingly fantastic. And I suspect that the fragrance has been tweaked of Surf Shop as well, because it's a very fruity fragrance in a way that the scent notes don't indicate. And my impression, kind of in a reputational way, my impression of Surf Shop was not what I smelled this year. This year was just something that was unexpected and a little bit of a lightning in the bottle. I ended up liking Raspberry Rosé a little bit better, but Surf Shop was great. It was really great. Sea Salt and Sails is very similar to Surf Shop in terms of genre of fragrance. And to be honest, this is what I remember Surf Shop smelling like. But clearly not. And even if I didn't have this impression of what I think Surf Shop smelled like in years previous, if I smelled this is what I was expecting with Surf Shop. I can't remember the notes on Surf Shop, but it was like musk and spruce and I can't remember something else. It might have been like briny or whatever. And the fragrance, like I said, ended up being almost like nectarous with the fruit aspect of it. And then there was a little bit of spruce or balsam kind of in the bottom, but it didn't run away with the musk. And it was actually not a masculine candle at all. If I remember correctly, very soft touch on the aquatic or ocean elements too. So it was a really interesting candle, and I think a successful one, but a little bit unexpected given the marketing and the notes. The notes on this one are ocean sea spray, aloe vera nectar, and driftwood. So actually, and I apologize for not having pulled up the Surf Shop notes specifically. I actually think that these would make more sense for the way that the Surf Shop candle smelled, because it's got this aloe vera nectar. Aloe vera is, of course, green and doesn't really have much of a smell. But when candles use the aesthetic or fantasy note of aloe vera, they usually mean something kind of vaguely green and aquatic and sweet. Not like vegetal sweet green and aquatic as in a cucumber, but kind of a similar note, just not like vegetal, right? But the fact that they're putting nectar in there, I really do think that Surf Shop had almost like a stone fruit peach apricot kind of smell that came off on it. So I actually think that this, and there's no musk listed here at all. It's just the ocean sea spray, the aloe vera nectar, and driftwood. So actually that's a much better description of what Surf Shop was this year. Whereas Surf Shop, I'm pretty sure it mentioned musk and maybe bergamot. I mean, you were just set up for like kind of a men's cologne, right? And then it ended up not being that. Whereas this one is much more traditional men's personal fragrance. This is basically the way that I thought Surf Shop was going to smell. I know I'm saying Surf Shop like 77 times, and I'm starting to like, my tongue is starting to trip over it. But is it better than Sea Salt and Sails? Ugh. So many S's. Sea Salt and Sails is extremely aquatic. It doesn't have any fruity components, which is why like the aloe vera nectar is kind of bizarre. I actually think there's a floral dimension to this. If there's anything, there's a sweetness coming from a floral. I think it's a white floral. It's probably a jasmine or something like that. But it blends so beautifully with the briny ocean aquatic note that it really just kind of lights the ocean up a little bit and softens, and also like gives it a certain kind of beauty that otherwise would be kind of like a harsh brininess. So don't think of it as a floral conceptual so much as an aquatic conceptual with a floral finish. Yeah? Yeah. It could almost be a cotton blossom, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, because it's kind of fresh and clean smelling. I'm getting kind of a little bit of a cotton nuance. And yeah, I think there's a little bit of bergamot in here and a lot of musk. So I would say that the dominant note here is this amazing briny ocean aquatic note lit with kind of a white blossom, probably a cotton blossom. Little bit of bergamot, not too much, and a good amount of musk. A good amount. I don't know that I would say it's like deep bassy, but I would say it's a mid to base kind of candle, which is to say that the bergamot is not running away, it's not too sparkling, it's not too effervescent, and because they've allowed that aquatic briny note with, yikes. All right, so what's happening outside, just so that you know, is that a school bus has attempted to make a turn around my house that there is no space for that turn. Oh man, this happens every now and then. There's like a Greyhound bus that tries to do this every now and then because there's an Amtrak station right up the street. It's a disaster. I mean, they're gonna have to turn around, but now all the cars are like honking because they're like, we need to go somewhere, and no, we can't because the school bus has taken up all 4 lanes. So I apologize. It's gonna get dicey here, but hopefully somebody can work it out. That school bus can back up. What was I saying? Oh, yes. The bergamot, it does not run away with itself. So Yankee Candle, actually, this is a really good lesson for you. With all of your perfume and cologne conceptuals. This candle has bergamot and has a good deal of musk, and is in fact, at least according to some people's categories, a cologne conceptual. I mean, there's enough musk and bergamot in here to call it a cologne conceptual as opposed to an aquatic conceptual. But what makes this different and superior to most of the Yankee candles that have come out that are also masculine cologne conceptuals, sometimes with aquatic overtones, is that here Bath & Body Works has a very light touch with the bergamot and a fairly heavy hand with the musk. But because of the lightness of the bergamot and the power of the briny aquatic lit up with the cotton blossom, there is a certain kind of authenticity in this candle. I don't know that I would go so far as to say it's stripped down, because it really is a personal fragrance, if a little bit more on the premium smelling side. But like I said, there is a robustness, there is a fullness, there is a confidence that Bath & Body Works has here with its inner elements, not the bergamot and not the musk, that are like standard profiles for a perfume or a cologne, right? It's those inner notes, the aquatic note, the sweetness of the aloe, if there is any, or just kind of a sugar note, and then that amazing, fresh, bright white floral that is not synthetic. And the entire candle is just head and shoulders better than something that Yankee Candle would give us that is similar. That's what I'm talking about with Yankee Candle. Yankee has got to pull back a little bit on the amber and on the bergamot and on the heavy musk and allow the inner notes that are really the most interesting part of a cologne or perfume conceptual, really allow those to stand out. And I just said in a past video in Yankee Candle, my impression is that they might be using too cheap of oils in their inner notes. So they don't have confidence in those really standing out and giving a good impression, and they may have good reason to not have confidence about them. But either way, this is an example, and I mean, Bath & Body Works, I mean, they sell essentially $10 to $12 candles, right? This is by no means a prestige kind of company or line. But at the same time, they know how to handle a fragrance like this. They know how to handle an aquatic cologne conceptual and not make it super heavy. Although their ocean candle is, I would say the Bath & Body Works ocean candle is much more similar to the like 50 million candles that Yankee has put out in the last decade. So I'm not saying Bath & Body Works across the board has standouts, but this really is in terms of the way it's formulated. Like I said, to me, and even with the scent notes on the bottom of Sea Salt and Sails versus Surf Shop, I think the notes need to be reversed, and maybe the fragrances too. And when it comes down to it, they are actually fairly similar candles, and it almost makes me feel like they had two different iterations of Surf Shop going, and then they were just like, oh heck, put them both out on the floor, who cares, right? They're both fine. But I do suspect Sea Salt and Sails has been out for a while, but so has Surf Shop. I don't know. There's a lot of confusion with this. And I get the sense that Surf Shop was reformulated, but of course I could be mistaken about that as well. Unfortunately, the performance on this candle was not as good as Surf Shop. So I did burn it down to the wick clips. It did get some sooting, a little bit more, I think, than Surf Shop did. That said, it was still moderate. Like, I didn't have any problems with it. And most of this sooting happened like very late in the candle, which is understandable. The biggest problem with this, though, is that the strength and throw is just not quite where it needed to be. I could not do it in the open concept. It stayed in the back bedroom, which actually was a beautiful fragrance for a back bedroom, so at least there's that. But I would say that for the most part, it was getting up to like a 5 in the back bedroom in an enclosed space, which for me is just not enough. Surf Shop, on the other hand, really got up to a 7 or a 7.5 in the open concept consistently. So it was kind of hard to like appreciate this one more than Surf Shop, at least on a performance standpoint. I do kind of appreciate the more masculine, bassy dimension of this. Yeah, but it's still fresh, it's still aquatic, it's still really delightful. although it doesn't have that fruity element. I love them both. I really do. All things being equal, I almost like this fragrance better, but it just didn't project, it didn't amplify the way it should. That said, there were a few burns, and mind you, this is after 3 hours. 3 hours into the burn, I got it up to about a 7 in the back bedroom. So it wasn't every single one, and I hesitate to say that that was kind of the consistent or the average strength and throw. So I really think that the average strength and throw was much closer to 5 in the back bedroom. But I'm not gonna lie to you that there were more than one burns where it got up more than that. However, it did take several hours to get to that point. So take that however you want to take it. I think it's very, very nice. I think it's a beautiful aquatic conceptual. I've said this before. I really love aquatic conceptuals, and I wish Bath & Body Works did more of them. And maybe they do, and I'm just kind of overlooking them. But man, every time they do an excellent one, I'm very clamped. I just think it's fantastic. You, Me, and the Sea, fantastic, you know? I actually think that Bath & Body Works has fewer aquatic conceptuals than they could or should have. And a surprising number of the ones they do have are very above average. So I think it's well within their wheelhouse, and I just like to see them do it more often. They do a ton of gourmands. They do a ton of florals. They do a ton of body care, right? And then they have like the perfume and the conception and the colognes as well, but that kind of goes into like the body care, personal fragrance kind of vibe. I think that their aquatics are underrepresented, and this is an excellent one. I just wish the strength and throw was better, that's all. But it was very nice, Yes, when it was burned, which is often happens, it did go more cologne conceptual than aquatic conceptual. That, like I said, especially if you've got a pretty like bright, fresh, stripped down, natural kind of note up against a bergamot and a musk, when it's burned, especially from afar, you're gonna get the bergamot, you're gonna get the musk before you get those other either botanical or natural elements. So yes, in the back bedroom, it did burn a little bit more like a cologne conceptual, but on cold, it smells a bit more like an aquatic conceptual. So that's what I've got for you. It's actually really nice. I just think it underperformed, and it was up against Surf Shop, which performed remarkably well. That said, this is still available. See, it goes to tell you too, that other juvenile collection is sold out. I have not seen that in store for a good week or two, whereas these rattan ones are still in the stores for the most part. So, and I think I think this was the more stunning packaging, but in terms of the success of the fragrances, they just kind of weren't there. If they had been in the juvenile packaging, we would have heaps of them, because not only would they look like 5-year-old birthday party kind of aesthetics, but then on top of it, the fragrances would be like, ugh, you know. So actually, they probably played it well, because the really stunning packages. Oh, there was vanilla. What was it? The Palo Santo and vanilla was in this one too, and I did buy that one. I haven't seen that one around for a bit. But I do think you can probably still find this in the store, and I think it's also available online. So I guess they're hoping that they can get through them. I suspect they're gonna, whether they sell or not, I think they're gonna pull them off the floor in the next few weeks. And then we'll see them at semi-annual in January. So this is your chance to get one. And you know what? It's still high August. It's still, oh my gosh, I was watching the Today Show, and like, what, in Chicago, it's like, it feels like 115 today or something. Like, it's crazy. So we're still looking at summer here, and we're probably gonna be looking at summer for the next at least 2 to 3 weeks. So why not? Why not? When there's a good sale, like, pick up a Surf Shop, right? Or Freudian slip, sea salt and sales. Oh, it smells so fresh. It smells so beachy. It smells so right for August. All right, my friends, that's what I've got for you. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one.